June 12, 2025, Ahmedabad, India. The afternoon sun glints off the sleek fuselage of Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, as it sits on the tarmac at Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. Inside, 230 passengers settle into their seats, some fidgeting with tray tables, others gazing out at the hazy runway. The cabin hums with the usual pre-flight chatter, families returning to London, business travelers checking emails, a young couple sharing earbuds. In the cockpit, Captain Sumit Subawal, a 56-year-old veteran with over 15,000 flight hours, adjusts his headset. Beside him, First Officer Clive Kundia, 32, runs through the final pre-flight checks with practiced calm. Both men are seasoned, their hands steady, their voices clipped and professional. The aircraft, registered VTANB, is 11 years old, a workhorse of Air India's fleet, its General Electric Jiang's 1B engines recently inspected and cleared. Everything is routine. The tower crackles through. Air India 171, cleared for takeoff, runway 23. The clock ticks to 13:37. The Dreamliner's engines roar, a deep vibration pulsing through the cabin as the plane accelerates. Passengers feel the familiar jolt of speed, the nose tilting upward. At 13 hours 38 minutes and 39 seconds, the wheels lift off, the ground falling away. Ahmedabad's rooftops shrink below, the city sprawling under a cloudless sky. For a moment, everything feels right. But 3 seconds later, at 13 hours 38 minutes and 42 seconds, something goes wrong. Terribly wrong. The engines falter, their roar softening to an eerie whine. The plane, barely at 118 knots, shudders. In the cockpit, warning lights flicker. Subawal's voice cuts through the sudden tension. Thrust not responding. Confirm settings. Kundia's hands on the controls, his eyes scanning the instruments. All set. Nothing's changing. The aircraft, now at 625 feet, refuses to climb. On the ground, a bystander squints at the low-flying jet, noticing the landing gear still extended, a strange hum replacing the expected thunder of a departing plane. In the cabin, passengers sense the shift. A child grips a mother's hand. A businessman's coffee spills as the plane dips slightly left. At 13 hours 38 minutes and 50 seconds, Subawal keys the radio. Mayday! Mayday! Air India 171. Thrust not achieved. Falling. The call is brief, urgent, swallowed by static. Air traffic control freezes, their screens showing the blip of Flight 171 veering off course. The Ram Air turbine, a small emergency propeller, deploys with a faint whir, a last-ditch effort to power critical systems. But it's not enough. The plane, heavy with nearly 100 tons of fuel, sinks lower, skimming over rooftops. At 13 hours 39 minutes and 11 seconds, just 32 seconds after takeoff, it slams into the hostile block of BJ Medical College, 1.7 kilometers from the runway. A fireball erupts, shattering concrete and lives. Of the 242 souls on board, 241 perish. On the ground, 19 more are lost, and 67 are injured. The wreckage, a twisted mass of metal and flame, scars the heart of Ahmedabad. Amid the chaos, a miracle. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a 40-year-old British national seated in 11A, is thrown clear, landing in a patch of soft earth cushioned by debris and insulation. His battered, burned, but alive, the sole survivor. As firefighters battle the blaze, rescue teams find him, dazed and bleeding, whispering about a jolt and a strange noise before the world spun. His survival is a flicker of hope in a tragedy that claims 260 lives. Within hours, India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AB, descends on the site, joined by Boeing engineers, General Electric technicians, and experts from the US and UK. The black boxes, flight data, and cockpit voice recorders are recovered from the wreckage, battered but intact. The nation mourns, families gather at hospitals, and the world watches, demanding answers. How does a modern jet, flown by experienced pilots in clear weather, fall from the sky in less than a minute? The investigation begins in a haze of grief and confusion. The AAIB, led by Chief GVG Uganda, combs through maintenance logs. The aircraft had no reported issues. Its engines, one overhauled in March, the other in April, were deemed airworthy. Fuel samples from the refueling tanks test clean, ruling out contamination. No bird strikes, no weather anomalies, no signs of an explosion before impact. The black boxes offer the first clues. The flight data recorder shows that at 13 hours 38 minutes and 42 seconds, both fuel control switches moved from run to cutoff, starving the engines of fuel. The move is inexplicable. Switches are flipped to cutoff only after landing, not during climb. The cockpit voice recorder captures a chilling exchange. One pilot asks, "Why did you cut off?" The other replies, "I didn't." The recording doesn't clarify who spoke, but at the time, Kundia was flying subwall monitoring. The switches, located centrally on the throttle console, require deliberate force to move. They're locking mechanisms designed to prevent accidental shifts. 10 seconds later, at 13 hours 38 minutes and 52 seconds, the switches are flipped back to run, triggering an automatic engine relight. One engine begins to recover, its thrust climbing, but the second lags. The plane, too low and too slow, has no time. The RAT's deployment confirms a total power loss, a ray failure in a jet as advanced as the 787. Investigators are baffled. The switch's movement caused the crash. But why did they move? Subwall, with 8,600 hours on the 787, and Kundia, with 1,128, were rested, breathalyzed, and cleared to fly. No signs of distress or conflict in their brief exchange. Yet the question lingers. Was it human error, a mechanical fault, or something else? Public speculation ignites. Social media buzzes with theories. Pilot error, sabotage, a cyber attack. A 2018 FAA advisory surfaces, noting that some Boeing 737 fuel control switches had disengaged locking mechanisms, a design shared with the 787. Air India, treating the advisory as non-mandatory, hadn't inspected VTNB switches. Could a loose mechanism have caused an accidental flip? Engineers test the theory in simulators, but the switch's design requires intentional movement, not a casual bump. Others point to a 2019 All Nippon Airways 787 incident, where a software glitch misread the plane's status and shut down an engine mid-flight. Could a similar flaw in the 787's full authority digital engine control FADEC system have triggered the cutoff? The AAIB finds no software alerts or sensor errors in the flight data, deepening the mystery. Families of the victims, scattered across India, the UK, Portugal, and Canada, demand clarity. Syed Javed Ali, who lost his wife and 2 children, speaks at a vigil. "We don't want theories. We want the truth." Air India sets up a hotline, establishes the AI-171 Memorial and Welfare Trust, and suspends 83 wide-body flights for safety checks. By July 22nd, inspections of the airline's 787 fleet find no issues with fuel switch mechanisms. The airline retires flight numbers AI-171 and AI-172, replacing them with AI-159 and AI-160. Boeing, under CEO Kelly Ortberg, pledges full cooperation, sending experts to Delhi, but issues no advisories for the 787 or its GE engines. The stock market reacts, Boeing shares dipping 9% as analysts question the Dreamliner's complex systems. The preliminary report, released July 8, 2025, is a 15-page document that raises more questions than answers. It confirms the fuel switch cutoff as the cause but offers no conclusion on why it happened. The AAIB notes the switches were found in the run position post-crash, suggesting the pilot's attempt to recover. The report mentions the 2018 FAA advisory but clarifies that no defects were reported in VTNB's throttle control module since its 2023 replacement. Captain Kishore Shinta, a former AIB investigator, muses to reporters, could the electronic control unit have triggered the switches without pilot input? If so, it's a serious concern. Yet no evidence of a software command surfaces. The absence of alerts in the flight management system puzzles experts. Any malfunction should have triggered warnings the pilots would discuss. Media outlets amplify the uncertainty. The Wall Street Journal reports a focus on subwoofer, citing the cockpit audio, but the Indian Commercial Pilots Association, ICPA, and ALPA India slams such claims as reckless. Invoking human error without evidence is irresponsible, the ICPA states. Aviation expert Amit Singh warns, until we know how a locked switch moved, the truth is elusive. The full cockpit voice transcript remains unreleased, fueling speculation. Was the AAIB withholding it for sensitivity, or are they unsure who said what? Peter Goels, former NTSB managing director, urges its release. The pilots would have discussed any alerts. We need the full context. In Ahmedabad, the crash site is cordoned off, wreckage moved to a secure hangar. The engines, retrieved intact, show no pre-impact damage. Fuel samples from the auxiliary power unit and wing valve test clean. The investigation shifts to human factors and system behavior. Did one pilot mistakenly flip both switches? Muscle memory overriding protocol in the high-stakes climb? Unlikely, given their experience and the switch's design. Could a latent design flaw in the 787's fly-by-wire system, which adjusts for thrust imbalances, have masked a problem until it was too late? The 787's automation, meant to enhance safety, relies on thousands of lines of code. A glitch, like the one in the 2019 ANA incident, isn't ruled out, but no data supports it yet. As weeks pass, the story fades from headlines, but the questions burn. Families hold memorials, their grief tangled with frustration. A relative of a British passenger tells the BBC, the report says what happened, not why. That's not enough. Air India resumes 787 flights by mid-July, confident in their inspections. The DGCA mandates one-time takeoff parameter checks for all 787s, but no fleet-wide issues emerge. The crash, the deadliest in a decade, becomes a grim milestone, the first fatal loss of a 787. Its billion-passenger legacy, celebrated by Boeing earlier in 2025, now carries an asterisk. Investigators, now months into their work, face a daunting task. The black boxes, while intact, don't tell the full story. The brief audio snippet, one pilot's question, the other's denial, haunts the probe. Was it confusion in the cockpit, a split-second mistake, or did the plane's own systems, trusted to keep it aloft, betray it? The 787's reliance on electronic controls, from flaps to fuel, makes it a marvel, but also a potential vulnerability. If a software flaw or external interference, though unproven, played a role, it could reshape aviation safety. The AAIB promises a final report within a year, but history shows such probes can stretch longer. For now, the data points to a single, devastating moment. Two switches, flipped off, then on, in a 12-second window that doomed a flight. The sole survivor, Vishwas Kumar, recovers in a hospital, his memories fragmented. He recalls a jolt, a hum, then darkness. His survival, against all odds, is a reminder of the human cost. In London, where Flight 171 was meant to land at 1825 British summertime, families wait for answers that may never fully come. The crash site, now cleared, leaves scars on Ahmedabad's skyline and in the hearts of those left behind. The aviation world watches, uneasy, knowing that modern jets, with all their sophistication, still hold secrets. Until the final report, the question echoes, what, or who, moved those switches? And can it happen again?